The new surge of COVID cases across the country is forcing many Americans to rethink their travel plans. Airports are busy right now as we get close to Christmas, but COVID is not the only concern for airlines. There's a technological and bureaucratic conflict that could force many of them to cancel flights in the new year, leaving passengers stranded. Kris Van Cleave is at Washington's Reagan National Airport. Kris, this doesn't sound good. Good morning to you.
Well, good morning. We know based on TSA numbers, about twice as many people are traveling this year than last year. Airlines are starting to see a modest uptick in people canceling their flights, but really we hear they're watching today very closely, just as they're starting to sound the alarm about the potential next round of flight disruptions. And it has nothing to do with COVID and everything to do with ultra-fast 5G cell phone service. A standoff between two federal agencies could have flight-halting consequences for airlines caught in the middle. Starting January 5th, U.S. airlines may have to stop using equipment that helps pilots land in bad weather or low visibility at more than 40 of the nation's busiest airports, following an FAA order prompted by concerns about possible interference from newly activated 5G cell phone towers.
5G is now the biggest issue facing the airline, which is remarkable to say in a world where we're still in COVID.
United CEO Scott Kirby says airlines have no choice but to adhere to the FAA order.
We need the FAA and the FCC to sit in a room, to delay this until they sit in a room and find out a way to do this without impacting aviation and aviation customers. If we go back to decades-old procedures and technology for flying airplanes, cancel thousands of flights per day and hundreds of thousands of customers, it will be a catastrophic failure of government.
Top executives from the nation's biggest carriers expressed concerns during a recent Senate hearing.
The FAA is uncomfortable with the safety risk, and as a consequence, the impact on our operations to mitigate that would be a significant setback.
Former 737 pilot and National Transportation Safety Board Chair Robert Sumwalt says planes are safer with those radio altimeters working.
The spectrum band that the radio altimeters use is very close to the spectrum band for 5G. And that's the concern, is that there's the potential for spurious signals from the 5G to interfere with the radio altimeter spectrum.
The wireless industry insists there is not a safety issue, arguing the aviation industry's fear-mongering relies on completely discredited information and deliberate distortions of fact. AT&T and Verizon are pledging to reduce signal strength on cell towers near airports.
We have 39 countries where you have this deployment. There have been no issues.
Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn believes expanded 5G service is essential.
What we are looking at is a late onto the table objection by the FAA.
Were folks just not talking to each other?
Sometimes we wonder if they are in as close communication as they ought to be in order to get this done.
In a statement, the FAA says it believes the expansion of 5G in aviation will safely coexist, adding it is working closely with the Federal Communications Commission and wireless companies. The FCC tells CBS News it is optimistic that a solution can be worked out. The wireless companies have spent about $80 billion acquiring this bandwidth to roll out 5G. They oppose any kind of a delay, and the airlines say without a solution, they could have to almost immediately start canceling or delaying about 1,000 flights a day. Over the course of a year, it would work out to 32 million flyers being impacted. Nate?
Kris, thank you so much. So many questions that I have. Seems like they're on opposite ends of the spectrum, no pun intended, but someone isn't telling the truth.
Well, I just think Scott Kirby of United Airlines pulled no punches. Why would the airline want to fearmonger? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Makes no sense at all.
I hope we don't have to pull up that interview, guys, at any time to say, look, he tried to warn us back then. So did Mr. Kelly from Southwest.
No.
No, this is very, very frightening.
They got to work it out for sure.
No doubt about it.
Before we get on that plane.
Yes, you're right about that, Gayle.